Welcome back to Prof E Plays. I'm Prof E, and I have been itching to start Cepheus Universal campaign. So I'm going to do that. So I'm kind of going to be interspersing my Shadow Dark stuff with my Cepheus stuff until one or the other wraps up. So the way that I'm going to run with Cepheus, there are a few options. So one, there is actually a solo way of doing this. I do have a copy of. It was originally for the original Traveler. It was called Traveling Alone. I forget what they might actually still call it Traveling Alone. It's in one of the Cepheus magazines. Um, that is available if you're interested in that. Um, but I don't think I want to do that because it's assuming kind of a sandbox that's not particularly directed. Right? I want a little more direction with this one, I think. So I'm going to use the Gemulator, which I've printed out here. It is available on Drive-Thru RPG. I think it's either free or pay what you want. I forget which category it falls into. Um, so it is available there through Drive-Thru RPG. I'll put a link uh, in the comments for you. Uh, I really enjoy using the Gemulator, and I've tried it in the past. And in fact, my first RPG related videos are actually a playlist all about how to use the Gemulator. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here. That's actually on my other channel that I mostly use for teaching. But I sometimes use it for other stuff too. So I do have that linked. I think that playlist you can get through my channel page, I believe. Okay. Anyway, so the way that the Gemulator works, it has some elements that are very similar to that. So you have a chronicle, which is a number of lists, right? So you have lists for goals, characters, factions, and locations. Then you also have kind of this tiered structure where you have overarching, there's the campaign. Within the campaign, there are adventures, and within adventures, there are scenes. Between adventures, there are random events that happen so that the world keeps moving, even though you are doing stuff somewhere else, the rest of the universe still exists, right? So I really think that this is a good tool, right, to use for this. So what I'm doing in this video is set up the campaign, uh, just walking through kind of a random thing, and then next I would like to make some characters. I think I'm going to make three characters this time because there are three different ways that you can make characters using Cepheus, Cepheus Universal in particular. So I want to kind of try each of those out, try to make our party. Right, so let's go ahead and start here. Right, so first thing I need to do is set up the overarching campaign. Right, so there are, of course, you can always choose, but I want to do random stuff because that's why I do what I do, because I like rolling dice. So first is length. So I'm going to roll my d10 here. There's a length table here on page 9 of, this is, I believe, version 1.1 of this. Moritz Renfeld. Um, my German pronunciation is not very good. I'm kind of assuming it's a very German-looking last name. There's umlaut. Okay, so 2. So this would be a one-shot. It's not much of a campaign, but okay. Right, so length is a one-shot. All right. So I'm just going to make a note here, number of adventures, 1. A couple other things about that. So a single adventure with a self-contained story. The adventure goal is the campaign goal. So we're going to go into adventure goals here next. Now, I will roll a few other things because there are things like scope and stakes that will in fact matter for the campaign level. This might also be one of those things where I run this as one shot and then I decide I want to keep going with characters, so we start a new campaign with the same characters possibly. Okay, all right, so it's a one shot. Other things you know about it, there is no modifier here, right, for the scene transition. So scene transition modifier, there's none. Just put a null mark there. Okay. Next, campaign theme. So again, I'll roll a d10 to see what we get there. I got a 1. It says roll twice and combine. I actually have 100% dice, so I got 8 and 4. So the themes are espionage and what's the other one? Political. Oh, I was supposed to get it pretty easily. So not a lot of difficulty on that one. All right, next then we need scope. Okay, scope. Scope is 9, so it's universal. So we're going big to start with. Okay. So universal. So what that tells us And so there are a number of different scopes from personal up to universal. Universal means the story spans the entire setting and has the potential to shake things up to the very core. Right? So this is something that's potentially have big effects on the galaxy or whatever. Right. So in terms of act, and this determines two things. One is on our active list, that is those things that are relevant to the current adventure, that there are at least four global factions. So that's something that I need here. So I'll make a note of that. Four global factions. And also on the campaign turn, you roll random events for at least four global factions. So I don't know why they have it marked separately because it's always you roll random events for the thing the active list would create. So that means that we're going to have to create four global factions at some point. We'll do that as we go. And then finally, the stakes. So are the stakes minimal to extreme? Roll 10 extreme. Okay. All right. So that means the random event modifier is going to be plus 20. Now, because we are running a one shot, that's not really going to matter that much. Because normally what the random event modifier does is the higher it is, the more, I guess, wide scope the events will be in between adventures. Since it's just a one shot, there's only one adventure, there really is no in between. But just to give an example, here, for example, random events that are, say, vocation oriented. You would roll a d100 if you get a 1 or 2, so a low value. Superiors praise recent efforts. On the other hand, 99 to 100, exceptional work earns a promotion, right? So we have that kind of range here is kind of what we have in mind. So, and then in between you have things like, oh, regular job gets tiresome, these types of things. All right. So that is that for, maybe that's all the campaign setup. Campaign goal is just going to be the same as the adventure goal. Okay. All right. So the next thing I need to do then is pull out okay, campaign log here. I'll set that to the side. Remember, we do need to come up with four factions, but I want to get my adventure log together first. Okay. So when it comes to the adventure log, what we need here, a few elements. The first thing we need our adventure goal, that is the quest. Right. So to get that, I'm going to roll up on their book of tables. We have here our quest table. So the first thing I want to do, oh, wait a minute, I just realized I didn't roll a campaign premise, did I? I missed that. How could I miss that? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, because there isn't actually a mention of that in the instructions. That's why. Okay. So I just skipped it. Right. So I mean, yeah, let's go ahead and roll. Yeah, no, because we're doing just the adventure goal. Never mind. All right. Let's hop back then. Look at adventure stuff. So what we need here for adventures, we need a quest type. So first I'm going to roll a d10 that will give me a category. And then within that category, I'm going to roll a d100. Okay. So I got category number one, so it's crime. Crime is the general category here. And then within crime, roll d100. What is the crime? It's crime number 80, which is assassination of a laborer. So somehow, now, one thing, this is deliberately kind of vague. So we might be being sent to assassinate this laborer. We might be trying to prevent the assassination. Or we're trying to solve like, figure out who it was that did this. As long as we hit the themes of espionage and political, I'm okay with that. So I want to think a little bit more about first, who is the quest giver? I think that that's going to be something that will be helpful in defining some of this. The quest giver here. So again, I'm going to roll a d10. It will give us a general category, and then I'll roll be more specific. So I got a 7 here. So that's a location. And so I'll roll on the location table. So the quest giver is a location. 75. 75 is in, if it's something supernatural or technological, it says illusionary hideout. All right, so the quest giver is an illusionary hideout. So I'm guessing here what I'm thinking. Okay, so I need to put this together. The reason we're on this quest is because of some illusionary hideout assassination of a laborer was involved. What I'm thinking is with hideout. I'm just thinking about possibilities. We could possibly have stumbled across it. I Now that doesn't necessarily give us much purpose. At that point, I mean, unless we have characters that just feel this sense of purpose naturally, which I mean, that's totally valid. We could do that. Um, I think okay. I think maybe that's the way we're going to go. So our party, at least somebody in the party, stumbled across right this hideout. Uh, did not expect to, obviously, because I'm guessing there's some holographic kind of whatever hiding it is what I'm imagining here. Um, right. So yeah. So that's what happened. So we found out that there is this assassination planned. Yeah, yeah, that's it. And we're going to try to prevent it. So our initial adventure goal, try to prevent the assassination of this laborer. So this is going to be somebody that's important in terms of factions involved. So when I'm thinking about these factions, I think one of them is going to certainly be criminal. It's pretty obvious. And then I'm thinking like, so who is a laborer that you'd want to assassinate? So this is not somebody that's just like a factory worker or something like that. That would be really strange. Instead, I'm imagining this is somebody who's involved with some kind of like charity work or something like that. Because I can imagine that person, while fundamentally what they're doing is kind of boots on the ground kind of work, nonetheless, they are some kind of important symbol, right, for a group of people. And that could make them important enough. You might want to get rid of them, especially, say, if you are some kind of criminal organization. You're trying to make people desperate, so they have to depend on you, so that having this source of hope is something you wouldn't want. So that's what I'm imagining here. Okay, so we're trying to prevent the assassination of this is going to be some kind of charity worker. So we think about factions then. So I'm going back to thinking about that. Right, so our factions, right? There's going to be whatever this criminal organization is. I'll give it a name later. We're also going to have some charitable organization. That makes sense here that the authorities would also be involved in some way, right? So we're going to have, in effect, the police or law enforcement as being a third faction, and then I'll keep thinking about a fourth one potentially. Okay. Do we have anything else that we need for setting up the adventure? Let's see. Adventure setup, what do we have? We know what our character is trying to accomplish, so we're trying to prevent this assassination that we overheard that there's a plan for. Um, who or what gives the quest? Well, the fact that we stumbled upon this. Why is the quest given? What are motivations, right, for the quest giver? Okay, yeah, that's something we need to think about. Is okay. Well, we already know the quest giver in some sense is the villain indirectly. So in the quest location, where's the quest supposed to be completed? But that is something we also need to think about, and sensibly wherever this person is, right? So and that's something that I think maybe we don't know exactly just yet. Right. So I think that that is good in terms of setup, with the exception of we need one more faction. Right, so we have a criminal organization, a charitable organization. I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to roll on. We have a faction list. I'm going to go ahead and roll on the faction list to figure out what the fourth potential faction is. And 73 is it. So that would be a scheming syndicate. Okay, so apparently there are multiple, what I would think of as being criminal organizations involved here. Right. So I think that that looks pretty good. Right. So at this point, I'm going to stop here. Next video is going to be creating our characters. Who are the people that stumbled upon this and now are trying to get involved with it in some fashion and feel a need for they themselves to be actively involved or the much of a story. All right. All right. So I'm going to call it there. So until next time, this is Prof E signing off.